Hello everyone, and welcome back to the pile. Master Rule 5 will be implementing a banish zone pile. Most likely, hopefully. This week, I took Shadal's to locals. I'm talking about that 2014 deck, yes, Dual Line Shadal. This is pre-structure deck, pre-Cloth-Eep, the fusion Link monster. So basically, this is literally, if you look at my deck list, which I'll be showing near the end, it's, for all intents and purposes, 2014 Denko dolls, but technically worse because there's no baby dragons. There's not enough of them. So, and there's not enough zones to make rank 4s and stuff. So it's really, really dreadful. Now, my first game is up against Heroes, and I opt to go second. Now, the thing with locals is that people know what you're playing, just because it's locals, right? My opponent decides to go into Increase and Faris and do all that kind of stuff, and Vion dump, and set Pass, which is a very peculiar play when you have 3 monsters on board with Heroes. You'd think you'd maybe extend with, like, the Malicious Engrave and stuff, but, well, I suppose that he opted to play around Shadal Fusion blind round 1, game 1. So, I open a hand with Vishuda and Denko, and there was a bit of a misplay here. I probably should have dropped the Vishuda first, so that I could potentially just have an extra body on board, so it means that I could link it off with the Winda that I'm about to make with this hand of El Shadal Fusion, and it means that I could have dumped the Shadal Fusion and kept it in hand for the follow-up, perhaps. The line that I decided to go for is basically just ending on Winda and hoping that'll kind of get me there, because that's probably the only redeeming factor of playing Shadal in 2019, is having some kind of a Winda play. Well, he drops a Call by the Grave on my Vishuda, sorry, my Skomata, so it means I'm not going to be able to get the Sen there. He decides to pop off on the turn 3, and yeah, he just clears my full board. Winda adds back the El Shadal Fusion, but unfortunately it's going to be a little bit too late. Now on to game 2, it's a little bit more grindy, but I guess not really much happens. He does make an extra deck monster. Perhaps maybe just feeling bad about playing around it blind game 1. I'm very sad as I'm not able to see Shadal Fusion in this hand, but I do see Shadal Fusion. But there's who's on the field? Who's on the field? That's a Dark Claw on the field. That is a Dark Claw on the field. Yes. So, that's kind of bad news for me. And we still managed to deal with it to some extent, stealing it with the restrict just being so good. The problem is, however, is that it just kind of makes our Shadal Fusion not have the maximum value from sending from deck. But it's whatever. We end on a Winda, and hopefully that kind of just like, hopefully it would be enough. We force out the Search Neos Fusion in hand, so as to make sure that it's dropped on the other monster, not our Winda, because he did search that on his first turn. And then next turn, well, he kind of just walls up here, and eventually he's able to recuperate and go into the Dark Fusion Destiny, or whatever it's called. I don't even know, dude. Well, regardless, Malicious Bane hits the field eventually, punches over the window, and then main phase 2 he's able to pop off and make a bunch of dudes, and there really isn't much I could have done from that point with the follow-up Dart Law as well, with the mass change being set from the... God, what's the link to hero called? I don't even know, dude. But yeah, that recycles the mass change, and it means that my Shadal Fusion gets basically no value, it gets banished, and on the following turn, he's able to just reduce Construct so low to the point that Stratos is able to punch over it, meaning that Construct popping a special summon monster is irrelevant. So that's pretty sad. After game 1 here, I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, we're off to a bad start. Who could have thought this would be a bad start, huh? Not me, dude. Not me. So we lose against Heroes. We get 2-0'd. Starting to realize that if we can't even beat Heroes, we can't even take a game off Heroes, maybe this deck isn't very good. But it's okay. We'll keep trudging on, and I'm sure we'll get through eventually. Match number 2 was irrelevant. It was this weird, like, pendulum magician. When I say magician, I mean, like the magicians that no one plays. There was some kind of a dart magician involved. There was a Palladium Oracle. and the scale. Not much to say about round number 2, I'm sorry. Lunalight OTK, rather than playing Lunalight Danger with like Azathoth and stuff like that, it's actually this weird like OTK blind second deck. Makes Evil Swarm Nightmare turn 1, which, by the way, that kind of was a bit of a problem. So Evil Swarm Nightmare is thrown down. I go into the Vishuddha. Vishuddha just gets booked, so I can't link it. I normal summon the Denko. He can't do anything about that. With his back row, I'm not really sure what his back row is. I think he searched out that like weird Rhoda card that Lunalight has, but it's a trap. I don't even know. I special summon the Restrict, and I get it Book of Moon by Evil Swarm Nightmare. That card is insane, dude. So I don't really have any plays left at this point, honestly. I had a Shaddoll Fusion. I could have went into like a Winda. I'm not really sure if maybe that was the correct play. It probably was a correct play, so it means I could have like saved myself from dying. Game 2 goes a little bit more interesting. I go second here again, pretty much just trying to rely on Shaddoll Fusion being like some kind of worthwhile card. He does some things and some guys. The problem that you can see on the field is actually the Lunalight Panther Dancer or Tiger Dancer, whatever it's called. I don't even know, dude. That thing's a bit of an issue because it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, so Construct is actually not going to be able to out it. So the only way really for me to get over it is with Boral Sword. But I have a really sick hand here. It's like a Mind Control, Prank. There's a whole bunch of good like tools I have here to like try and get over this. I go for like the Prank Top to hit the back row first and foremost, which is a Call by the Grave, which was actually really super important and clutch for me to get rid of. I decide to dump Shaddoll Fusion and the core with the Construct effect so I could get the free fusion, and then I normal summon the Clown and I go into a Link 2. I pop the Wolf Scale because he's playing the Lunalight Wolf, which is the Miracle Fusion, so I don't want him to have that for the following turn. I could pop the Tiger, but the problem with Tiger is that it kind of floats or something like that. I'm not really sure. It's actually not bad. I use Mind Control on the Darumadol. So that means that, or not the Darumadol, it's like a snack or something, just so I can get the materials for a Link 4. This allows me to go into the Shaddoll Fusion using the resources from the deck. So this is actually like super clutch here. It's not game because, well, funnily enough, like Construct's effect to destroy a special summon monster from the extra deck at the start of the damage step is actually more of a hindrance here, because it means I don't deal damage. So this would have been game if like Construct was like didn't have that effect. But yeah, I don't really have a choice but to try and do the maths here. Eventually, I don't think this was game regardless of what I'd done. But we put the we just attack over and Boral Sword attacks directly. I think he's literally left on like 200, 300 life or something. Maybe someone in the chat can do the maths there. So he's just basically top decking at this point. I standby phase, make Winda, and there's really no deck that can realistically come back from that. So that was actually a super cool game, and probably like the highlight of the weekend was like being able to like fight through like a board like that. Not a lot happens here in this game. He makes me go first, and I wasn't sure what to side and stuff, but I don't know. I don't have much of a hand here. The only Shaddoll access I have is through Instant Fusion. So I instant for Winda, and then just make a Construct, and just like hope this like sticks basically. Construct is outed very easily by the Akashic Magician or something like that. Oh, actually it was a Gamma Seal. And then the Gamma Seal was bounced to the hand with Akashic, which is really funny. And there's really nothing I can do. He just OTKs with Boral Sword, and there you go. That's a good game. Oh, Lunalight OTK. Who would have thought that this is things are going to get paired up against? Unfortunately, a loss. I probably should have had a better side deck plan, and I put my side deck together really quickly before the games, the tournament, the locals actually started. So you could probably consider maybe something like Artifact Sanctum to like stun your opponent for a turn. That could be an idea, but it was a good game regardless, and it was definitely enjoyable, at least definitely that game too, to see just how well this deck can do when it gets going. The final round of the day was against Striker, and to tell you the truth, it's not really worth showing. It was kind of a boring game. It was like a bunch of like just weird plays. I bricked like game 1, I drew for like 3 turns and didn't see anything. It was just kind of a weird match. Prize support for 2 and 2. It's 2 Chaos Impacts and an OTS. I guess we'll start with the Chaos Impact because best for last. Gonna get myself an ulti, I just know it.
Yeah, hang on, I'll do the credit.
Double Banking, Armor Dragon, Cauldron of the... Is this a common? Oh, I thought that was higher than a common. Laurel, Jelly Cannon, ooh, Test Panther. Very nice. Some Glad Beast cards and a Wonder Heart. Alright. I got an Ultra, I got a Glad Beast, woo.
If anyone pulls Ultra with
Brindiger. I think you can, no, that's not the one I'm thinking of. An Unchained card, Crusher Run, Entanglement, Gorgon. Oh, what absolute mommy Link 2. Very cool. Alright. This is the LT. It's coming. And it's a super skeleton. Very cool.
Right, we finished 2 and 2. I threw this together very quickly. I've been testing it a little bit before. The deck's really bad. It's literally 2014 Denko dolls, but worse because the baby dragons are all at one. So I'll just race through this really quick. So the worst cards in the deck, the Shadolls. You just play them all because, you know, I guess this one's okay, you get 3 of them. Yeah, you maybe want to draw like 1 or something and like that's it. Thanks, Josh! Okay, so that's all the dolls. Maybe you can cut more, maybe you can cut less, maybe you can play Danger Engine to trigger them and stuff. I haven't really tried that. So Denko Sekka, it's light and you blind second, and apparently it's 2014. More light monsters. Yep, the clowns, I guess they're okay. There's some going second cards. Valor is probably not that great. Maybe it should be Ghost Ogre, you can bamboozle some Mascarenas with it instead. More going second cards. I should probably play the light one, but this was reprinted in Dude, and that's all I have. And Vashuda, just a whole bunch of going second cards. The other spells for going second, these are just breaking boards. I managed to OTK Lunalight with it in the video, if you might have noticed, which was pretty nice. So 3 of that, 3 instant, and Flourish Upstart, very consistent. Thank you, thank you. 6 fusions, which you never draw, and the 1 core to recur and add back the fusion, etc. Alright, extra deck really quick. Borrow Load, Borrow Sword. You can't out anything in this deck because half the things in Yu-Gi-Oh! These days can't be destroyed by card effects, so Construct's useless. So this steal things. Game. Generic Link 2 to link off when you mind control and stuff to create zones. This like can't be outed by Striker, I want to say, and like maybe Thunder Dragon or something. I don't know. Phoenix clearing back row. Monk for the Vashuda, Link Kribo to clear your 1000 dies restrict from the instant fusion, and finally Nightmare Unicorn to spin things. Usually you can link climb pretty nicely with the clown. And then the fusions is 3 window. Maybe you don't need 3, I don't know. I haven't really found a need for some other card in here. That's probably something I'm missing and forgetting. And the 3 construct. I'd play like 4 if I could. Probably the only reason to play this this deck, and the 1 restrict. Yep. Alright, and very quickly, the side deck was thrown together. I'm sure there's more optimal things here. This needs better going first cards. So someone made me go first and I didn't have anything. But anyway, Twister, Ogre. I thought I would throw in Spell Canceller for Striker if I go first. I can like fuse, send Falco, tribute over the Falco, have Construct Falco or something like that. I don't know. Lancia for Orcust and Pranktop for hitting things. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory deck. If you need any more details or explanation about this deck, Google 2014 Denko dolls and you'll find a good deck profile explaining this, because it's literally just 2014 Denko dolls, but probably worse because the baby dragons are at 1 and Masaru.
As I said throughout this video, there's a whole bunch of different ways to play this deck per se. You can play like a bunch of dangers if you want to have more a bit of a draw engine, trigger those Shadolls in the hand. Definitely something to consider. I just didn't really have access to them for this tournament straight away. But I think like the 2014 Denko doll style thing that I went with this tournament was like probably not the correct one. I did consider Super Poly, but at locals, Super Poly being live is kind of not always easy. I hope you enjoyed this Shadoll journey, everyone. Thanks for watching, and until next time, adios.